Hi, I'm Mike Andrews, Chief Scientist of Trust Metrics, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about how we develop models to rate websites for advertisers. At Trust Metrics, we automate the rating of websites for advertisers. Different advertisers will have different criteria for where they want to advertise, and we package that all up in one rating, in one score for them. Once you've sort of baked in all of your criteria to a particular scoring scheme, you just score all the websites you're interested in, sort them from best to worst or highest to lowest, and then start advertising on sites from the top down, stopping at some point when you have enough ads out there. So typically, we start out with a collection of websites that we choose to train our models. The whole goal of this is to be able to mimic in an automated process what the best, most highly trained experts would do in rating websites. So technically, we develop models and then we use those models to do the automated ratings. So to develop these models, we start off with a chosen set of websites. For instance, let's say we're developing a model to assess the quantity and nature of user-generated content on a site. And not just that there's 1,000 pages and there's one comment on one page. It's really, is the site significantly a user-generated content site or is it not? So I'm talking about that kind of broad categorization of a site. We'll probably choose a lot of sites that have no user-generated content, a lot of sites that have lots of user-generated content, and lots of sites that have some intermediate amount of user-generated content. So the selection of websites is sort of geared towards the model we're building. There should be representatives for all different ratings in that data set. And then in-house, we have a team of highly trained experts who have experience rating websites according to all different kinds of criteria, and we'll ask them to maybe as simply characterize whether or not a site has significant user-generated content on it or not. And if everything works out right, about half of them will be true, about half of them will be false. That sort of gives us a good statistical sampling of both possibilities. These are our kind of training scores to develop the model with. And we may typically start with a few hundred to a few thousand such manual scores to train our models with. So that's on the expert scoring side. Now, on the automated site measurement and production crawling system side, we'll go out and download all the content of these websites, typically several hundred pages per website, to get kind of a statistically significant sample of pages to be able to judge the site. We'll look at many, many different things on each of those pages. We'll look at the HTML content. We'll measure things related to the site level as a whole. We'll measure things on each page we download. We'll look at where the ads are and how many of them. Look at the fully rendered pages. We'll look at some semantic features, related to the content. Is it this subject or is it that subject? We'll execute all JavaScript. We'll do all sorts of technical things like that. We'll look at things like whether there's a privacy page or not, you name it. We'll also pull in a lot of third-party data produced by other companies that's either available for free or that we license. In the end, we aggregate all of those measurements up to a site level. And typically, we'll have upwards of 10,000 of them. On the one hand, we'll have these thousands of measurements per website. On this hand, we have our expert accurate scores. And then in the modeling process, what we're doing is trying to find correlations between the two. And when we find that robust set of correlations, we'll bake that into a simple formula. But then armed with that model, we can then go out and for our clients, apply it to millions or tens of millions of other websites. And get the same level of accuracy. And what's interesting is often the accuracy of our models sort of exceeds the accuracy of the experts. So if expert number 1 and expert number 2 tend to agree within plus minus 20 points on a 0 to 100 scale, maybe our models will achieve plus minus 15 points. So not only can we mimic what the experts do, but we can sort of average out some of the noise in what they do too, and wind up with something a little bit more accurate. That's basically how we do our automated model development. We do start out by manually scoring some sites in order to train the model, but then once we have developed this model, we can then, in a fully automated way, go out and apply it to millions of other websites. So that's pretty much all I had in mind to speak about today. This is Mike Andrews signing off for Trust Metrics. My email is mra@trustmetrics.com. If you want to drop me a line anytime, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.